Does this pound note on the floor? Mine.
Give him a mince pie.
But there's only 5 left.
ITV Christmas Entertainment, sponsored by Rennie.
No, me on TV.
Questions start now. Name something you can eat.
Concrete.
Name something you might take on holiday.
A tree.
Name something you can wear.
A cricket bat. A pigeon. No, a carpet. An ice cream with a chocolate stick in it.
Barbara, Friday at 9, ITV.
Julie, I've got something to tell you.
Mark?
Mark Reynolds?
Yes?
I know what you did last night.
What's going on, Mark?
Julie doesn't know. She doesn't know that you watch ITV2 with Sunset Beach, Emmerdale, Jerry Springer, David Letterman.
Oh, Mark.
A nice hand for Mark.
More and more people are discovering ITV2, total entertainment. ITV2 is free with digital TV through an aerial or any of these cable services.
Anytime, any place, anywhere, there's a wonderful word you can share. It's the bright taste of the right one. That's Martini. That's Martini.
Where do ideas come from? How do they just start? Are they really in your head? If you could hold them in your hand, they'd be more real. And then you could show them to people.
Bring your ideas to life with Canon.
Leerdammer, com'è?
È una dolcezza.
Me lo fa assaggiare?
Non posso.
Come no?
Tutti, ma Leerdammer, meglio di no.
Insisto.
E va bene, solo un pezzettino,
Leerdammer, deliciously continental.
Lo sapevo.
We all like to make more calls at Christmas, and with this Vodafone Mobile on Smart Step, that's not a problem, because the more you use it, the less you pay. That's Comet Sense.
New bold 2-in-1 tablets. Each one is bulging with a built-in quality conditioner that keeps your clothes fresher than any other tablet.
Dad?
New bold tablets. Chock-a-block with a freshness that lasts.
Prepare yourself for a powerful sensation. New Airwaves Soothing Action Honey and Lemon flavour. One chew releases a powerful menthol action and instantly helps your throat feel soothed. And the sensational effect really lasts and lasts. Original Airwaves vapor release for your nose and new Soothing Action Honey and Lemon for your throat. Airwaves, fast-acting, long-lasting, sensational.
Now you can own the Pokemon Tempest gift box. Join the quest to be a Pokemon trading card game master trainer.
Master, how can I knock out 2 or 3 Pokemon at once? It's in the box. I need a deck builder and advanced game strategy. In the box. What about boosters? The box.
The Pokemon Tempest gift box includes Tempest theme deck, 3 Pokemon booster packs, training CD-ROM and more. The Pokemon Tempest gift box. Get it now at Woolworths and other leading toy stores. Now's your chance to master the game.
This little boy would like to thank all the passengers who have donated to the British Airways Change for Good programme, raising over £11 million for the United Nations Children's Fund.
Bethlehem Year Zero remembers the original Christmas week in half an hour.
Hello, on Meridian News, an inquest hears how children playing with matches started a fire which killed a young mother. And we go undercover with a special police squad as they combat Christmas pickpockets. Join us after the ITV Nightly News.
Hunting ban moves closer despite angry protests. Inquiry as Dirty Doctor is jailed for string of offences. Christmas shoppers out to break all spending records. And how the Queen's English is not what it used to be.
From ITN, the ITV Nightly News with Dermot Monahan.
Good evening. A ban on hunting in England and Wales came a step closer tonight. MPs voting within the last hour to give a second reading to what is now a government bill. The majority was 215. There was a demonstration outside Parliament and passions, as always on this subject, ran high in the debate as well. The Home Secretary, Jack Straw, disclosed that he personally was in favour not of an outright ban, but of licensed and regulated hunting. John Draper reports.
It was the first ever government bill to ban hunting.
Ayes to the right, 373. The noes to the left, 158.
It was carried overwhelmingly, but this was just the first stage. It's got a long way to go. Earlier pro-hunting demonstrators had marched on Parliament, angry that after years of threats of a ban, this bill might actually really be the beginning of the end. For a while, traffic around Parliament Square was brought to a halt.
Get out of the way!
The Prime Minister's car had to use a side entrance to the Palace of Westminster to get Mr Blair in for question time. Minor scuffles broke out, though police quickly restored order. Some made clear they'd be prepared to break any new law banning hunting.
I will carry on fox hunting for the rest of my life. I'm not going to give in.
I think there should be a give on their side, a bit of give on our side, and then we'll all be able to go hunting, won't we?
Inside the chamber, it was just as heated.
Breeding foxes so that they can be hunted. It is about human pleasure. It's about the chase, and it's about the bloodlust and the kill. That's what it's all about.
The Labour MP, whose private member's bill to ban hunting failed, supported the new measure.
The chase is unnecessary, but it is the very essence of the sport that is associated with hunting. The chase causes the animal unnecessary suffering and is therefore by definition cruel.
Those against a ban included some familiar faces.
Now this is the wrong measure, at the wrong time, for the wrong reasons. And I say to honourable members opposite, it will be bitterly resented and it will be long remembered if the government force this through.
The Home Secretary upset many who want a ban by declaring himself for a compromise clause of regulating hunting.
I shall vote for Clause 2, a scheme of regulation, and I shall vote against Clause 1, self-regulation, and against Clause 3, an outright ban.
Tonight's vote will not automatically mean a ban on hunting, but it is getting closer. John Draper, ITN, in the House of Commons.
Well, over now to our political correspondent, John Ray. So, John, no surprise that this is causing the usual deep divisions.
Oh, indeed not. It's one of those issues where there is almost no common ground between the two extremes. On the one hand, if you favour a ban, then hunting is all about cruelty, bloodlust, in Tony Banks' words in the Commons this evening rather. If you are in favour of hunting, then this is simply a matter of civil liberties, as simple as that. It does, of course, also cross party lines as well. On the one hand, we have Anne Widdecombe, perhaps the next Tory Home Secretary, in favour of a ban, though she didn't speak in the Commons today. And of course, as you've just heard there, Labour Home Secretary Jack Straw disappointing many on his own benches by saying he's in favour of hunting continuing, albeit in a regulated fashion. And that tonight has been seized on by the pro-hunting groups as a very significant sign of cabinet divisions on this issue.
And John, after this vote tonight, what happens next?
They come back to the Commons in January, where they consider in detail the options from an outright ban through to regulation. The MPs are no doubt going to back the full ban. It then goes to the Lords, and then it might get snared up ahead of the election. Then it's a political calculation for the government. Are there more votes in invigorating perhaps their grassroots, in pressing ahead with a manifesto pledge on a ban, or will they fear upsetting Middle England if they do that?
John Ray, thanks a lot. An inquiry was ordered today into how a doctor was able to go on practicing for 9 years after he was first accused of indecently assaulting women patients. Clifford Ayling from Folkestone in Kent was jailed for 4 years when a jury found him guilty on 13 charges. Juliet Bremner reports.
Family doctor Clifford Ayling is tonight at the centre of an independent inquiry ordered by the Health Secretary after the GP was convicted of numerous indecent assaults spanning almost a decade. Alan Milburn says he finds it incomprehensible that Ayling was allowed to continue practising at his surgery in Folkestone despite complaints that he subjected his patients to humiliating ordeals over many years. Sentencing Ayling, Judge David Croft said, "You are indeed a dirty doctor. You held your patients in contempt. What you did was wicked. These were vulnerable people who came to you for help, and you used them for your own sexual gratification." The court heard that many of the women were still traumatised by their experiences.
He's a wicked man, a calculated man. He knew what he was doing. He's an experienced doctor. He abused the sacred trust that was placed upon him for his own sexual gratification.
The East Kent Health Authority admits that complaints were first made against Ayling in 1991, but says that the NHS has now learnt from its mistakes.
A lot of change has happened in the NHS. We have put a lot of systems in place at a local level to encourage much more openness amongst doctors, much more sharing of good practice.
Ayling sometimes worked with Rodney Ledwood, another disgraced doctor who was only struck off after 16 years of complaints about his botched operations. Tonight, Clifford Ayling will begin his 4-year prison sentence. His convictions here at Maidstone Crown Court serve to once again highlight the difficulties facing patients who want to get rid of incompetent or dangerous doctors. Juliet Bremner, ITN, Maidstone.
Disability and human rights groups were up in arms today after Britain's top soldier, General Sir Charles Guthrie, said the idea of letting disabled people into the armed forces was ill-conceived. The government backed him. Here's our defence correspondent, Kevin Dunn.
As Chief of the Defence Staff, General Sir Charles Guthrie has extended opportunities in the Army for women and decided to admit gays. But he draws the line at the disabled, saying they have no place in uniform. That has provoked outrage.
Well, I think it's nonsensical, and this attitude is really born of prejudice and ignorance, because many disabled people are able to do a very good job, but the generals are really living in the past.
General Guthrie believes every soldier should be able to use a rifle and, if necessary, serve on the front line. The rule gives the forces, he believes, flexibility and combat effectiveness. One of the Army's most distinguished ex-servicemen agrees.
I think the Army are very much in touch with the harsh realities of the battlefield. I think the British Army has a superb record throughout the world, and I think that we know exactly what it takes to create a fighting soldier, and we don't want to take risks with that.
General Guthrie is said to have the full support of the Prime Minister for his views, but that is unlikely to stifle the debate over whether the force's blanket ban on the disabled should remain. Kevin Dunn, ITN, at the Ministry of Defence.
And the Ministry of Defence admitted today that the Army was 8,000 under strength and now unlikely to get up to full strength before 2008. Only a quarter of the young men and women who enter recruiting offices get right through the training and into the Army. The Health Secretary, Alan Milburn, today published plans to rewrite the Mental Health Act. Taking medication could be made compulsory under the reforms, and people with untreatable personality disorders could be locked up indefinitely, even if they've committed no crime. Shuli Ghosh reports.
Jane Zito welcomes the changes in mental health legislation. She founded the Zito Trust after her husband Jonathan was killed by a schizophrenic 8 years ago. She says the reforms will mean greater protection for the public.
If the legislation is enforced, patients such as Christopher Clunas, who killed my husband, the legislation will protect his needs once he's in the community. He will not be allowed to deteriorate to the point where he's a risk to himself or other people.
The White Paper is billed as the biggest shake-up in mental health in 4 decades. It will introduce compulsory treatment, forcing patients to take medication or face detention. People who suffer from severe personality disorders will be detained indefinitely if they're considered a danger to the public. And there'll be a new commission on mental health to protect patients' rights. Pressure to deal with high-risk mental disorders came after Michael Stone was convicted of murder. A loophole meant Stone remained free until he broke the law. The government says patients' rights will be safeguarded, but those with mental illness are concerned.
There is sectioning at the moment where people are taken into hospital and sectioned against their will, but to have it in the community where people feel that they're safe at the moment, I think will just destroy any trust.
The government says the proposals contained in its new White Paper will give better protection to the public and provide for new approaches to the assessment and treatment of those with severe personality disorders. It now has to convince MPs that its provisions comply fully with the Human Rights Act. Shuli Ghosh, ITN, at the Department of Health.
2 members of the boy band Five are to appear in court in Dublin in the morning after a brawl in a bar there today. A spokesman for the Chart Toppers said that Jay Brown would be charged with assault and public disorder, and Richie Neville is to be charged with public disorder and disturbance of the peace. The 2 were questioned for a number of hours by police before being released on bail. Christmas shoppers are breaking all records for credit and debit card spending, according to a survey today. The average card holder will get through more than £800, about half of it on presents. Here's Helen Wright.
In Birmingham tonight, the festive shoppers were out in force, with only 4